Esther chapter 1. Now in the days of Ahasuerus, the Ahasuerus who reigned from India to Ethiopia over 127 provinces, in those days when King Ahasuerus sat on his royal throne in Susa, the citadel, in the 3rd year of his reign, he gave a feast for all his officials and servants. The army of Persia and Media and the nobles and governors of the provinces were before him, while he showed the riches of his royal glory and the splendor and pomp of his greatness for many days, 180 days. And when these days were completed, the king gave for all the people present in Susa the citadel, both great and small, a feast lasting for 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace. There were white cotton curtains and violet hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rods, and marble pillars, and also couches of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of porphyry, marble, mother of pearl, and precious stones. Drinks were served in golden vessels, vessels of different kinds, and the royal wine was lavished according to the bounty of the king. And drinking was according to this edict. There is no compulsion, for the king had given orders to all the staff of his palace to do as each man desired. Queen Vashti also gave a feast for the women in the palace that belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of King Ahasuerus, to bring Queen Vashti before the king with her royal crown, in order to show the peoples and the princes her beauty, for she was lovely to look at. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command delivered by the eunuchs. At this, the king became enraged, and his anger burned within him. Then the king said to the wise men who knew the times, for this was the king's procedure toward all who were versed in law and judgment, the men next to him being Karshana, Shethar, Admatha, Tirshish, Merez, Mersana, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, who saw the king's face and sat first in the kingdom. According to the law, what is to be done to Queen Vashti, because she has not performed the command of King Ahasuerus, delivered by the eunuchs? Then Memucan said in the presence of the king and the officials, not only against the king has Queen Vashti done wrong, but also against the officials and all the peoples who are in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus. For the queen's behavior will be made known to all women, causing them to look at their husbands with contempt, since they will say, King Ahasuerus commanded Queen Vashti to be brought before him, and she did not come. This very day the noble women of Persia and Media, who have heard of the queen's behavior, will say the same to all the king's officials, and there will be contempt and wrath in plenty. If it pleases the king, let a royal order go out from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it may not be repealed, that Vashti is never again to come before King Ahasuerus. And let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. So when the decree made by the king is proclaimed throughout all his kingdom, for it is vast, all women will give honor to their husbands, high and low alike. This advice pleased the king and the princes, and the king did as Memucan proposed. He sent letters to all the royal provinces, to every province in its own script, and to every people in its own language, that every man be master in his own household, and speak according to the language of his people.
The following is the English translation of Pastor Mong's teaching on Book of Esther, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, translated by Ray. Read the Bible every day so you will be full faith. So today we are entering the last book of historical books, which is the Book of Esther. In the entire Bible, there's only 2 books named after the name of a woman. And so the first one is Ruth and the second one is Esther. And these 2 books are actually all both related to faith. And these 2 books, you can see that Ruth is a Gentile Gentile woman who was married to a Jewish people, and then she gave birth to the bloodline of David and walk into God's will and then accomplish God's kingdom. And so for Esther, it's a Jewish woman get married to a Gentile, and she helped to preserve the entire Israelites. And then in the time of the kingdom of Persia, so that later on Ezra and Nehemiah, they can come back to Jerusalem to rebuild the city for the second time, the third time. And so she also protected God's kingdom. So both women, they are of great faith. And Ruth, she said that your nation is my nation, your God is my God. So wherever you go, I will go. And for the faith of Esther is that if I perish, I perish. So today, through the last book of the historical book, the book of Esther, let's see how does God lead us step by step to understand the will of God and walk into the path of God's destiny. So as the book of Esther actually does not happen after Ezra and Nehemiah, but instead it actually happens before that. It's the first time when the Israelites went back from Babylonia to Jerusalem. The first group of people was led by Zerubbabel and Yeshua after they went back and come and rebuild. And after about 80 years, in these middle 80 years is roughly the time when the book of Esther happened, because Esther, she became queen, so she protected the Israelites in Babylonian. And so that's why many years later on, Ezra is able to lead the second group of Israelites to go back to Jerusalem. And another 13 years, Nehemiah led the third group of people back to Jerusalem. So today when we're reading Esther in chapter 1 and chapter 2, we need to see five very important spiritual principles, and they are really connected to our everyday life, and also remind us how to prosper through the Lord in our workplaces, in our societies, in our interpersonal relationship. Maybe there are many scenarios. There are a lot more non-believers than believers. How can I because of the Lord, I'm able to stand firm in my position and manifest God's glory, and is able to preserve the life of many Christians and many churches, and even receive the blessing of revival. So let's first read chapter 1. You'll see the entire background of the book of Esther. It's talk about King Ahasuerus' banquet. In the entire book of Esther, there are 10 banquets. And from these 10 banquets, from the beginning it's a banquet, and in the end there's another banquet. And you can see that God is leading us step by step to prepare. Eventually, there will be another banquet that we're supposed to attend, which is the banquet between Christian and our bridegroom, Jesus Christ, the bridegroom and the bride, the banquet in Jerusalem. So when you're reading book Esther, through these 10 banquets, you can see that the God who is hidden is actually still helping us. And so in chapter 1, you can see this is the background. There's a great banquet. In this banquet, they're having fun, they're celebrating, and you also see Queen Vashti. She does not listen to the command from Ahasuerus. So in this process, when they're enjoying the time, there seems to have some conflict in their relationship. And Macumen at this time, he just stand up and say, Queen Vashti doing this bad example is very bad. It will make man lose faith. We will lose our authority. So in chapter 1, you can see that indeed the entire country is in a huge chaos, that the marriage between the queen and king is not good. And then there's one important key that you need to grab, is that the first spiritual principle, the kingdom of Persia is very strong. It's because there's a connection, union between 7 tribes. But these 7 tribes actually has a lot of conflict and friction. So the tribe of the Queen Vashti is actually always have some conflict with the tribe of Macumen. So today when Queen Vashti, she doesn't want to participate this promiscuous banquet, that Macumen came out and say, because previously maybe they are in the losing side of these conflicts between different parties. So like there are a lot of friction there. So in chapter 1, the first principle that we need to see is that no matter how chaotic is the politics that we are going through, no matter there's how many conflicts, either it's in the entire country or in our workplaces, there's some friction between this manager and that manager, this section, and we don't know which side we should take, then we need to first see that even in these chaos, God is still ruling over this. This is the time when God is doing his work. So we should not waste time to complain that, my company has so many drama, my country country, there's the political situation is crazy. You should not waste time to complain that, oh, there are some conflicts between the church leaders. I want to change the church. I want to change a job. Oh, so now if there are some conflicts in your country, do you also want to change your country? So, dear families, we always have this tendency when we see something that's difficult or chaotic, we just want to leave. But through chapter 1, you can see that either it's the battle between Babylonian or Persia, later on Persia win, and then, or after the Persia merged with Medes and all these tribes, the conflicts between these 7 princes, between queen and king and Macumen, all these princes, they have their own idea. But you can still see that God is still ruling over the entire situation. You need to believe that this is the season where God is doing his work. So the first thing that we want to pray is that, Lord, may you bless me. Even in all these chaos, I believe you are still working. You are still ruling. So pray for your country, pray for your company, pray for your church. The more chaotic timing, keep proclaiming, because God, you are going to rule over this. You will work, because Satan, he just tried to stop us to went back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, rebuild the city wall. And at that time, Zerubbabel, they have roughly finished their rebuilding work of the temple, and it's now waiting for Ezra to go back and to restore the people, and are waiting for Nehemiah to went back to rebuild the city wall. But Satan doesn't want these things to be fulfilled. So Satan, he used these chaos in the political situation to cause many people to lose hope and lose faith. So the first thing that you need to see is that even though the country is very chaotic, there are many conflicts in the politics, but this is the beginning of God's work. So you need to proclaim and pray that, Lord, you rule over this, you bless this, you lead us, you guide us, you will rule over our country, our government, our church, my company. And the second spiritual principle is that you will see that these guys, they are very promiscuous, and they have many but they are looking for women who are obedient. Even though this country is very chaotic, very promiscuous, but they are hoping to find a woman who is pure, a woman who is obedient. So you can see that the entire generation, they are actually expecting, even though the cheating and deception is so prevalent, but people are still hoping to find who is the one who is honest, who is the one who is holy, who is the one who is pure. Even when the entire society is full of this spirit of disobedience, resistance, and rebellion, but we are still looking for someone who is obedient. So we need to pray for our life. Lord, may your obedience, submission to build in me, your tenderness, gentleness, love, grace can be built in me. It's not rather than that, oh, since everyone is like lying, so I should just lie together. Since everyone is like not really paying attention to the subject, I also just can mind my own business. If everyone is being judgmental, then I can also be judgmental. No, but instead, we Christian, we need to pray for ourselves. The second spiritual principle is that even in the time of the chaos, God is still ruling, but God is also waiting for the one who he can use, he can choose, because this entire chaotic generation, they are still eagerly hoping who is the one who is humble, obedient, pure, and have a holy God who dwells in him. So we can pray that, Lord, I am here I am, and you call me, prepare me, use me. And next in chapter 2, we see after King Ahasuerus' anger disappeared, he started to remember Vashti because he lose the battle. So now when he back to the country, he start to miss his queen, but God is again ruling over this thing. So God used one thing. He asked one of his servants, say, oh, why don't we just find another beautiful woman and call her to Susa, and then to replace Vashti. So the king is pleased with that idea. And so in chapter 2, you see the king is pleased, and Hegai, the one who is in charge of the young woman, also is pleased by Esther. And the third person, Shashgaz, he also was pleased by Esther. So the third thing that we can pray is that, Lord, no matter who is the one who is ruling, no matter how crazy the situation or the politics is, maybe the circumstances doesn't look great. And Mordecai even remind Esther to hide her name. Don't let anyone know that you are Jewish. Just hide it. But even in this time of hiding, you can still ask God, Lord, is that people will still have favor and be pleased by us. Kings is pleased by Esther. the eunuch is pleased by Esther, and the one who is in charge of the woman is also pleased by Esther. So today we can pray that, Lord, may you help me in my family, workplace, church, country, neighborhood. May you give me this favor. I want to have this favor. You know, Mordecai's name actually means follower, an unimportant person, and Esther's previous name is Hadassah, which means myrtle tree. Myrtle tree actually represents God's mercy and redemption because its pronunciation sounds like Esther in the language of Persia. So that's why he named her Esther, which basically means star. So one is Mordecai, is an unimportant person, and Esther, which is star, and Hadassah, which is myrtle tree. All these persons are like very tiny. They're unimportant, seemingly unimportant, but they have God's great favor to a degree that all these circumstances, environment will turn to their favor. This is the God who seems to be hiding in this case. The Lord seems to be hiding. He still gives us those blessings. So today, when you're in your company, we shouldn't keep complaining about our job. Don't keep complaining your church. Oh, it's like, oh, in my family, I just need to take care of my children, my family. There's so many chores. Then it just start to easy for us to start to complain, get frustrated and angry, feel like, oh, my entire life I'm busy for other people. I can't see the hope for the future. We should stop saying those things. But instead we say, Lord, may you give me favor, give me delight. Give me your presence. Bless me. I want to abide in your blessing, abide in your favor. Bless me. I am your delight. Wherever I go, coming out or coming in, I will be blessed. I will be blessed in my church, in my company, by my boss, by my coworkers, in my country, in my neighborhood. I want to be pleased and favored. So it's the third prayer that you can pray. And the fourth prayer is that Mordecai and Esther, in chapter 2, you see many people's name. Mordecai is the unimportant person, and Esther means star. You can also pray for your own name. Lord, my name is what you have given to me. And each year I want to step into the new name that you have called me into. And also in the book of Revelation, it says, to the one who conquers, God will give him a white stone with a new name written. So today you can ask Lord, I want a new name for this year. It can be faith, favor, endurance, joy, shining, arise and shine, generosity. These new names just keep bringing us back to the glorious position that God has called us to. So today, why Mordecai and Esther, they hide themselves? Like Daniel, he didn't hide himself. Nehemiah didn't try to hide himself. But when they're willing to offer up themselves, and Ezra is willing to offer himself, then God blessed them. But today, these two seemingly unimportant people, they seems like they're afraid, they're worried, they try to hide themselves. But through their name, God actually reveals that even in these two people, they are very afraid and worried, God can still reveal great blessing on them. So today we can pray for our name. Lord, give me a new name so that in my everyday life, in this season, I will live out all the blessing, calling, and destiny that you have for this season. If you want to have a better finance, then you can ask God for generosity. If you want to have experience God's power in every circumstance, you can ask God for faith. You can say, Lord, I'm willing to offer out more for your work. And you can ask God for humility, for endurance, for joy, for peace, for forgiveness, and even for the ability to give. And ask God for favor and wisdom in your workplace. Have a perspective and also give you wisdom when you are pastoring people, a word of wisdom, word of knowledge. So in all circumstances, it's this name that it's testified we are being called by him. So today, this name is actually God's mark that he's going to do his work on our life. So today, pray for your name. Lord, you call me. Maybe I'm just like Mordecai. I seems to be small, but my name is recorded by you. Maybe my name is changed. Previously, it's called Hadassah, but now it's changed to Esther. But I want my name to be like star to shine for you. So today, Lord, may you bless me in this new year. May you manifest the work, the mark that you are working in my life. And the fifth one that we want to pray is that actually in the last section of chapter 2, after Queen Esther became the queen, everyone is happy, but this is actually God protection. But later on in verse 21 to 23, Mordecai, he actually made a great contribution, but the king did not have any favor, did not give him any reward. It just record this episode in the history book. So today, dear family, if you made a great contribution, you offer out everything you have, and you also say the key word or do the great things, in a key moment and you really stop a great loss, or maybe you bring a great benefit, but it seems like your contribution is not seen by anyone. No one cares about it. But the fifth thing that we want to pray is that, Lord, I want to trust your timing and schedule. May you bless me. Sometimes we feel like, oh, my effort, no one's appreciating that, no one is like complimenting me, but like even is trying to correct me and say that I'm not doing the great job. No one cares about my work. I offer up so much for the family, for the church, for this group. No one cares about it. I spend money, spend time, but we can choose to live in God's schedule and timeline. Said, Lord, I trust your arrangement. I trust in every circumstances you have a gracious will for me. I trust your timing. When you reserved it, I know that, Lord, you see it. I know, Abba, Father, I know you see it. In the most important moment, the Kairos moment, you will promote me. In those moments, you will call me out. You will use me. So let us step into God's timing. If you, in your marketplace, in your workplace, you spend so much effort in the past many years, no one is seeing you, or maybe you contribute so greatly in the family, but no one is grateful for you, or maybe you serve for so many years in your church, but in this process, in this cycle, futile cycle, it seems to be like draining you so much. Every time you offer out, no one cares. But we should not be disappointed, but we just keep believe, enduring in front of God. When the timing is here, God will promote us. At that moment, God will reveal us and reveal us. So keep offering up ourselves and endure and wait. God will reveal all the things that we did in the hidden place in public. So this is what is written in the Gospel of Matthew. Everything that you offer for the Lord in your inner chamber, God will reward us in public. So dear families, we shouldn't get disappointed, because Mordecai, he trusts God's timing in all circumstances. So he know at that time he can tell Esther that now we should hide ourselves. But in the Kairos moment, he told Esther that stop hiding. You need to tell him that you are a Jew. You are a Jewish people. So in those key moments, we need to believe in the time of hiding, we will hide. But when the time comes, God will reveal us, promote us. So through these 5 prayers, even in the most chaotic time, we believe God is still working. He's still ruling. In the most chaotic time, people are still looking for the one who is pure, enduring, and obedient. So we can pray to the Lord. Let me be prepared. Prepare me in the normal time. And also the third thing is that we should keep abiding in God's delight and favor on us. And no matter what kind of circumstances we're in, ask God for favor and blessing. And the fourth thing is that our name is of great power. So help us, Lord, in every season. I want to step into this name that you called me to be. In this name, you will treat me well. You will help me to step into the glorious destiny that you have measured for us. And the fifth one is to wait for God's timing. In God's timing, step into his will. Then you will see from Esther chapter 1 till chapter 10, God works so meticulously in his timing. We will not suffer loss as long as we abide in his timing. Then we can step into the glorious destiny that God has measured for us. Amen.
Dear Bible Race viewers and families in Christ, thank you for watching our videos. We hope our sharing can enrich your life. If you find the content helpful, we hope you will support our ministry so we may continue to produce high-quality videos to serve the kingdom of God and hope to bless more people's lives. You can donate in the following ways: online giving by PayPal. If you are residing in Taiwan, you may also donate by bank transfer. Thanks again for your viewing and support. Every contribution is our greatest encouragement. We sincerely appreciate your support. May God bless you abundantly. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Dear families, we hope that you enjoy the Bible race as much as we do. If you are willing to volunteer to translate the original Chinese teaching into English or assist with video editing, please email service@360sunrise.com. Thank you.